Clarice was in the midst of yelling at Michael Yu, the new head counselor for the Apollo cabin, which looked kind of funny since Clarice was a foot taller. Michael had taken over the Apollo cabin after Lee Fletcher died in battle last summer. Michael stood 4'6" and another 2 feet of attitude. He reminded me of a ferret with a pointy nose and scrunched up features, either because he scowled so much or because he spent too much time looking down the shaft of an arrow. "It's our loot!" he yelled, standing on his tiptoes so he could get in Clarice's face. "If you don't like it, you can kiss my quiver." Around the table, people were trying not to laugh. The Stoll brothers, Pollux from the Dionysus cabin, Katie Gardner from Demeter, even Jake Mason, the hastily appointed new counselor from Hephaestus, managed a faint smile. Only Selena Beauregard didn't pay any attention. She sat beside Clarice and stared vacantly at the ping-pong table. Her eyes were red and puffy. A cup of hot chocolate sat untouched in front of her. It seemed unfair that she had to be here. I couldn't believe Clarice and Michael standing over her arguing about something as stupid as loot when she just lost Beckendorf. "Stop it!" I yelled. "What are you guys doing?" Clarice glowered at me. "Tell Michael not to be a selfish jerk." "Oh, that's perfect coming from you," Michael said. "The only reason I'm here is to support Selena," Clarice shouted. "Otherwise, I'd be back in my cabin." "What are you talking about?" I demanded. Pollux cleared his throat. "Clarice has refused to speak to any of us until, her issue is resolved. She hasn't spoken for days." "It's been wonderful," Travis Soule said wistfully. "What issue?" I asked. Clarice turned to Chiron. "You're in charge, right? Does my cabin get what we want or not?" Chiron shuffled his hooves. "My dear, I've already explained. Michael is correct. Apollo's cabin has the best claim. Besides, we have more important matters." "Sure," Clarice snapped. "Always more important matters than what Ares needs. We're supposed to show up and fight when you need us and not complain." "That would be nice," Connor Stroll muttered. Clarice gripped her knife. "Maybe I should ask Mr. D." "As you know," Chiron interrupted, his tone slightly angry now, "our director Dionysus is busy with the war. He can't be bothered with this." "I see," Clarice said. "And the senior counselors? Are any of you going to side with me?" Nobody was smiling now. None of them met Clarice's eyes. "Fine!" Clarice turned to Selena. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get you into this when you've just lost. Anyway, I apologize to you. Nobody else." Selena didn't seem to register her words. Clarice drew her knife and threw it at the ping-pong table. "All of you can fight this war without Ares. Until I get satisfaction, no one in my cabin is lifting a finger to help. Have fun dying." The counselors were all too stunned to say anything as Clarice stormed out of the room. Finally, Michael Yu said, "Good riddance." "Are you kidding?" Katie Gardner protested. "This is a disaster." "She can't be serious," Travis said. "Can she?" Chiron sighed. "Her pride has been wounded. She'll calm down eventually." But he didn't sound convinced. I wanted to ask what the heck Clarice was so mad about, but I looked at Annabeth and she mouthed the words, "I'll tell you later." "Now," Chiron continued, "if you please, counselors, Percy has brought something I think you should hear. Percy, the great prophecy." Annabeth handed me the parchment. It felt dry and old, and my fingers fumbled with the string. I uncurled the paper, trying not to rip it, and began to read. "A half-blood of the eldest dogs."
Percy?"
Annabeth interrupted.
"That's gods, not dogs."
"Oh, right," I said. "Being dyslexic is one mark of a demigod, but sometimes I really hate it. The more nervous I am, the worse my reading gets. A half-blood of the eldest gods shall reach 16 against all odds." I hesitated, staring at the next lines. A cold feeling started in my fingers as if the paper were freezing. "And see the world in endless sleep, the hero's soul cursed blade shall reap." Suddenly Riptide seemed heavier in my pocket. A cursed blade? Chiron once told me Riptide had brought many people sorrow. Was it possible my own sword could get me killed? And how could the world fall into endless sleep, unless that meant death? "Percy," Chiron urged, "read the rest." My mouth felt like it was full of sand, but I spoke the last 2 lines. "A single choice shall end his days. Olympus to pursue?
Preserve,
Annabeth said gently.
it means to save.
I know what it means, I grumbled. Olympus to preserve or raise.